Welcome to Horner Sunday Kitchen. Today we're making spaghetti. This is the best spaghetti you will ever make. All right, especially if you have fresh ingredients. I went to the store this morning and bought some fresh ingredients. I bought some thyme, some oregano, some basil, some bay leaves. I usually don't add the bay leaves, but they were right next to the oregano, so I just, you know what, I'll grab it. And then some fresh garlic, some onions, and some mushrooms. All right, so I'm gonna saute up the onions and the mushrooms, and then we're gonna be good to go. I need a pounded ground beef, a little bit of sugar, and some diced tomatoes. You can dice up your own tomatoes. I prefer them out of the can for spaghetti, so I went and got some canned diced tomatoes today. So you don't want to miss this one. This is gonna be good. We're gonna have some garlic bread, some fresh broccoli with it. We're gonna make a meal of it, and it's gonna be the best spaghetti you could ever possibly make. So stay tuned. Right, the first thing I'm going to do is I have my onion, about a cup of onion. It's just a medium-sized onion. I'm going to put it in here in the hot cast iron pan. I'm going to saute them, but I'm not going to saute them to caramelize. I'm not going to quite get to caramelize stage. And then I'm going to make my hamburger at the same time in the other pan. First, I'm going to add mushrooms. Add about a cup of mushrooms too, because we like our mushrooms in our spaghetti. You're not going to caramelize those either, but you're going to bake off some of the water or fry off some of the water in here. So make sure you add olive oil to your pan. And the mushrooms will soak up some of the olive oil and some of the onions. All right. And I put 2 cloves of garlic in there at the same time too. What I do is I buy my hamburger at Costco, and then I put them in these Ziploc baggies, freezer baggies, and squeeze all the air out I can. There we go. Put that in the pan, let that fry up. At the same time. And I'm going to speed you up so you don't have to fry things up, I'm sure. So I don't want to waste your time. So we'll speed you up. Okay, now what we have here is these onions and the mushrooms are done, but they're not translucent. They're not totally caramelized, so that's a good thing. I'm gonna add this right to the meat that's fried up. I do buy 90-10 ground beef from Costco, so there's less fat. Less fat in there. All right, so there you go. Add that. So stir that in. Then I'm going to add 26 ounces, about 26 ounces of diced tomatoes. Okay, there's 29 in these, so I'm just going to leave a little bit in here, just a little bit in there. So 26 ounces of diced tomato with the liquid. That's important. Don't just put the tomatoes in there. All right, and then what we're going to do is we're going to add about 3/4 cup of water, because it's going to simmer all day. This is an all-day simmer. So then we're going to add a teaspoon of basil, half a teaspoon of thyme, a teaspoon of oregano, and 1 bay leaf right here. This is it right here. Put that in there, especially if you're adding fresh ingredients. It might be a little bit stronger. So a little bit stronger, but it's gonna be so good. So you gotta simmer it, get the oils out of the fresh ingredients. And it's gonna break down these diced tomatoes. Everybody's probably sitting home thinking, oh my gosh, I don't want that in my spaghetti. It's gonna break it down. It's gonna create kind of a tomato sauce in here because we're gonna simmer it probably about 3 hours. Just simmer it for about 3 hours. Bring it to a boil and simmer it for about 3 hours. You're gonna add some salt and pepper here. You're gonna add about a teaspoon of salt right now. But you're gonna probably add more because the tomatoes really do soak up the salt. So, and then you're gonna add a tablespoon of sugar. Do it, and then stir it up. That's it. We're gonna simmer that for 2 or 3 hours, and then we'll get back to it. And I'll show you. It's gonna be life-changing spaghetti. Life-changing. Don't forget, you gotta get. I use thin spaghetti. You can use regular spaghetti. You can use anything really, but I use thin spaghetti. So that's what we use in my house. We don't like the regular. It's too much noodle, I guess. That's what my wife says. So I make this for my wife. And there's the bay leaf. Whoever gets that in their spaghetti, they win the bonus. So there we go. All right, I'm gonna cover and simmer for an hour, and then I'll come back and we'll look at it and see how it looks. All right. All right, as you can see, it's been going for about 2 hours, so it's still a little bit liquidy. Of course, I've had this cover on it for 2 hours. Now I'm gonna cook it for about a half an hour, simmer it for about a half an hour, uncovered. So it gets a little bit of this liquid, it kind of evaporates, and then it becomes a really good sauce. My wife had already tried it. Amy already tried it. She said it was the best spaghetti she's ever eaten. Well, not really, she didn't say that. But she did say it was good, which means it was the best spaghetti ever, and that she doesn't want to try any others. So, but I don't know, maybe. I can always wish. So, all right, we'll be back in about a half hour. Okay, I went ahead and I boiled the noodles. I boiled it. I only put salt in it. Don't put oil in the noodles, okay? Because what it does is it'll help the noodles not stick together, but it also helps the spaghetti sauce not stick to the noodles. So don't do that. Just add salt. That's what I added. I added a pound of noodles to the water and boiled them until they were done, and then that was it. And you can do your spaghetti 2 different ways. You can do it the traditional way where you just lay it right on top of the noodles, or we just mix it up. When it's just a family, we add the noodles to the sauce and just mix it up. So, and my wife did try this and she said it was good. So when she says it's good, that means it's really good, okay? Because she's really picky about her spaghetti. So let me try it. Let me see. Wow, that's a lot of noodles. Oh, okay. That is wonderful. That could be the best I ever made right there. Of course, I don't add as much water as the recipe says because the mushrooms and the onions do have water in it. I also don't add the tomato paste, so I'm not going to include that in the recipe. What I did was a pound of ground beef, 2 cans, almost 2 cans, about 26 ounces of diced tomatoes. That's almost 2 cans because they're 14.5 ounces a piece, so that's 29 together. So I left about 3 ounces out. All right. Then I added about 3/4 of a cup of water, and then a fresh onion, about a cup of onion, about a cup of mushrooms, and I sauteed them. Remember? Okay. And then a tablespoon of sugar. I added a teaspoon of salt, about a teaspoon, about two cloves of garlic is what I added. Just 2 cloves of garlic. And I put that into the mushrooms and onions when I was sauteing it. Okay, that's what I did. And then fresh basil, about a teaspoon of fresh basil, a half teaspoon of thyme, fresh thyme, a teaspoon of oregano, and about a half teaspoon of black pepper, and then one bay leaf, and that's it. And I'm telling you, I simmered it for about 2 hours, and then about a half an hour without the lid on it, and it turned out wonderful. All right. Of course, you can see we're having garlic bread because that's traditional with spaghetti, and we're having bread. So, and that's about it. So, all right. So if you enjoyed this episode of Horner Sunday Kitchen, hit the like button, and if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe, and hit the notification button just in case, so when we notify, or you'll be notified when we post a video on Sunday. So, all right, be safe. That's it for Horner Sunday Kitchen. Until next time.